And I prayed unto Yahweh, excuse me, and I prayed unto Yahweh, my Elohim, and made my confession and said, O Yahweh, the great and dreadful, the great and dreadful Elohim, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and have committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants, the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O Yahweh, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are afar off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them because of their trespass, that they have trespassed against thee. O Yahweh, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. To Yahweh our Elohim belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh our Elohim to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as has been done upon Jerusalem. As it is written in the law of Moshe, all this evil is come upon us. Yet made we not our prayer before Yahweh our Elohim, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Therefore hath Yahweh watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For Yahweh our Elohim is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obeyed not his voice. And now, O Yahweh our Elohim, that has brought thy people forth out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and has gotten thee renown, as at this day, we have sinned, we have done wickedly. O Yahweh, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem, thy holy mountain, because for our sins and for the iniquities of our fathers, Jerusalem and thy people are become a reproach to all that are about us. Now therefore, O Yahweh, hear the prayer of thy servant and his supplications, and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary, that is desolate for Yahweh's sake. O Yahweh, incline thine ear to hear, open thine eyes, and behold our desolations and the city which is called by thy name. For we do not present our supplication before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercies. O Yahweh, hear. O Yahweh, forgive. O Yahweh, hearken and do. Defer not for thine own sake. O my Yahweh, for thy city and thy people are called by thy name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Selah. That was a scripture reading from Daniel chapter 9, verses 4 through 19. I want to take this time, this lesson that I'm about to share with the community, was for the Israelite Holocaust Remembrance for August 16, 2014. This is something that I had, that the community where I was had asked me to do. Well, no, they didn't ask me. This is something that was upon my heart that I delivered to the community, being in where I was. And where I was in Manchester, Kentucky at the time, which was a federal penal institution. And the community, the brethren, and all those that gathered, all those that attended, in sharing in the remembrance of the Israelite Holocaust Remembrance, had a nice day in reflection and participating that day. Although the powers that be, the chaplains, and which was a very earnest opponent against the Israelite community, but not just the Israelite community. You know, really being in parts of these rural areas. A lot of if you're not speaking the things of the traditional so-called Christian values or the way the European wants you to be, or then just like in like we've read and learned before in slave times. If you're speaking anything other than Jesus Christ, in whom the God that the European wanted you to believe in, from the book that he wanted you to study out of, then you wouldn't then you're frowned upon. So those are some of the things and the pitfalls that we had to go through along our journeys. But nevertheless, I want to share this right now with the community, with something that I did. I'm joined here by my son. By the way, my name is Ilya Ben Israel. I apologize first and foremost. My name is Ilya Ben Israel. And this is my son, Ilya Ben Israel. Like I said, this speech was delivered August 16, 2014. So, if you allow me, I'll go ahead and go in with my dissertation. First off, I'm going to start off with something that was it's called the Black Male's Creed, that I find very pertinent in order to share it and start this whole dissertation off. Black Male's Creed. We as men must strive for connection between ourselves and our ancestors, our kin, our mates, and our children. So we must stand as powerful role models for our sons, developing warrior-like strength and a sense of spirituality, oneness, and the encouragement of self-awareness for the freedom of us all. We must raise our daughters high, respect, dignify, and honor our young sisters as they travel the path toward queenship. We cannot stop there. We as men must strive for connection between ourselves and our neighbors. We must ready ourselves to assist when called upon to protect our villages, raise our land to prominence, respect our elders, and instill these rites of passage throughout our families. We cannot stop there. We as men must strive for connection between our bodies and our minds. We must understand fully the roles we play, the impact we have, the legacy we bring forward and celebrate. We have families and villages to raise. We have jobs to create. We have honor to protect. We have our Creator to please. Israel Holocaust Remembrance. Most of us men in this room that had fathers in the house growing up know the importance of having a father and the love of a father. There is a confidence in knowing where and who it is that you come from, and readily identify with he who spawned you, good or bad, right or wrong, love or hate. You and your father are connected. Whether he is a model of the man that you want to be, or a model of a man that you grew to not want to be. And even though you may strive to not be like him, you still share similar character traits because he fashioned you during your growth and developmental stages. As well, inherently, boys are programmed automatically to be like and embody the man or men who raised them. And that, to a great extent, is who they become. Even most of us men in here that never had to or knew their fathers would tell you that they wish they had a father. As well, if you catch them at the right moment, they'll tell you that they believe that their lives would have turned out more positive or differently if they would have had a father in their lives, or at least have known his name, because inherently, boys desire to know where it is that they come from. When a boy does not know who he is or where it is he comes from, he goes searching for a connection to what and who it is he should be, because he doesn't know what to be. A boy's brain is not fully developed. It's still impressionable. A boy does not have the mental capacity and is neither mature enough to reasonably discern or make certain decisions, because foolishness abounds in the heart of a child. And the scriptures tells us that the rod is needed to drive that foolishness from the boy. And it is the father that is needed to drive such foolishness from the boy. Since there is no father with the rod to drive out the foolishness, those young fools left to their own mischief, if they don't die at a young age, they grow up to be old fools that have grown wise to do evil and be rebellious. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I'm a grown man. These older fools spawn more fools, and the cycle continues. And here we are today, a nation of fools relying on our own understanding, wise to do evil. Yet, even deeper still, these same fools have grown content to not know who they are or where it is that they come from. We don't have any self-worth. We have no sense of dignity or pride. We have no honor. We have no respect for self. No respect for our parents. We have no respect for our elders, our women, where it is that we come from or have come to be. We don't know what it means to be African, and most of us are comfortable with not knowing what it means to be African, be an African born in America, and how we got here in the first place. It grieves me deeply when I hear some of us say, man, I don't want to hear that old black shit. What could possibly make one not want to know where it is you come from and how you came to be? But yet it would be those very same ones that will cry to the black communities when they or their loved one is wronged by a European citizen, a European cop, or any European representative of their racist institutions. You want to be black when it's convenient for you or when it benefits you. You want something from me. When you want something from me, now I'm your brother. But you will call me a nigger before you get to me and after you walk away from me. I can never be your brother and your nigger at the same time. That is an oxymoron. If you see me as your brother, you would not bring yourself to disrespect me. If you saw me as your brother, you would not seek to hurt me, harm me, or kill me. If you see me as your brother, you would not bring yourself to disrespect me. If you saw me as your brother. If you saw me as your brother, you would not see my mother and my sister as a bitch, a whore, a slut, a jump off, a chicken head. If you saw me as your brother, you would want for me what you want for yourself. You would not come at me sideways, deceitfully, to outwit or get over on me. If you saw me as your brother, you would come to me as a man should at all times, for you would know the seriousness of our plight to survive as a nation. You just can't give me lip service and call me your brother. Just because your skin looks like mine doesn't automatically make us kindred spirits. As an Israelite, we are held to a certain standard. This standard means that we ought to exert and show certain behaviors so that our own and others can readily identify us by these actions and behavior. Your walk has to line up with your talk. And at some point, Yah's going to test you. Situations and circumstances. Life is going to test you. And when that test comes, there are going to be others around to see if you are what you say you are under pressure. Because people are like tea bags. You have to see them in hot water to see how strong they are. Adversity and pressure will reveal to you exactly what and who a person really is and what they are made of. And when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Some of you here that have interacted and dialogued with me on several occasions have probably gauged my character and what it is that I stand for. So much so that I would venture to say that if some of you were to see me exhibiting a behavior contrary to what you know that I am, you probably feel that I am approachable enough that you may come to find out what's going on with me so that I can be held accountable. But if I were to snap on you and be ready to fight you because you expect better from me, according to the standards of the 613 laws of Yah, or if I try to justify my actions when you call me eating that pork chop sandwich instead of taking responsibility for my actions, I am not who I say I am or what I say. Some of you know that if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll respond in kind, I'm black-tastic, or I'm blacker than ever. Sometimes I just hold my fist up as a universal sign of power. If after you see me with my fist in the air, you see me throwing up gang signs, you have reason to question if I'm Israel or is fake. Because my father Yah says that you cannot serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the other. You can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. There are lives at stake. Souls are at stake. People are looking for that light. This ain't about you. It's bigger than you, and the nation is dependent on you. If you ain't ready or can't handle the responsibility of the pressure, you have to make way for those who can ensure that the line is told. Please do not misconstrue what I say into thinking that you can judge me according to what you think or feel that I should act or be. You have to judge me according to the 613 laws and commandments given by Yah. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here as your brother and to love you according to Yahweh's laws and commandments. If you see me not walking accordingly, then as my brother, you are supposed to correct me. If I don't embrace you or perform when called upon to display that I'm supposed to do as a brother when needed, I never was your brother. You always should be approachable as a brother. You are supposed to trust your brother. You are supposed to be able to confide in your brother because of the connection and bond betwixt you. If you see me as a nigga, you will never see me as your brother because you view me as an enemy and a threat. And you definitely do not trust me. It's hard to kill your brother, but you quick to kill a nigga. All across this country in our urban cities that we dwell in, we Africans are dying at an alarming rate because we don't feel a connection betwixt us as brothers because we view each other as niggas. It's something wrong with this picture. How did we go from helping each other to escape slavery to us helping each other stay slaves? We use this word nigga as a term of endearment. This nigga this nigga that. Most of us believe that being a nigga is something to be proud of. Some even try to justify using the word. I say nigga with an A, not nigger, E-R. Deuteronomy chapter 28 told us that we would become a byword and a proverb, which is to be identified as names and titles other than who you really are. The word nigga should make you want to bite your tongue if you use it. It should make you uncomfortable anytime you hear it. I really need for you to understand the brevity of the destructive nature of this word. That word nigga came from the very people that put your ancestors in chains and enslaved us. It came from the same people that raped your great-great-great-great-grandmothers and great-great-great-great aunts, and some of your great-great-great-grandfathers and uncles. They are still to this day raping your African continent of its resources and raw materials. Now, their racist institutions that we continue to fall prey to, we are now being raped psychologically. So with all this raping, and for all intents and purposes, being that the European used their penises to rape, there is no way that the word nigga should be sweet in your mouth or on your tongue. Picture that. It may sound harsh, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. I tell you these things because I love you, and the love I have for you is no respecter of persons. This is a wake-up call. Life is real, people. Come out of the illusion and deal with the reality of our present time and our past. Take ownership and responsibility as a man for what is going on in our communities and the nation of people that we claim to represent. Because those young men of ours out there are being killed and killing each other are not niggas. Those are your brothers out there trying to figure out who they are and who their father is. Lives are at stake. The future of our sons and daughters is right now. A nation is dependent on you to stand up and be responsible men. Leave your feelings out of this. I have to tell you what is, which is the words and truth of Yahweh of African Israel. This is the love that I speak according to. I have to speak on it like this because the knowledge that has been imparted upon me has placed me in the role of a watchman. And if I fail to speak on it, then your blood will be on my head. So this call must go out. You are all hereby placed on notice. Ezekiel chapter 33, verses 1 through 20. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heard the sound of the trumpet, and take him not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word in my mouth, and warn them from me. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Therefore, O thou son of man, speak unto the house of Israel. Thus she speaks, saying, if our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live? Say unto them, as I live, saith Yahweh Elohim, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? Therefore, thou son of man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgressions. As for the wickedness of the people, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. Neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust to his own righteousness and commit iniquity, all his righteousness shall not be remembered. But for his iniquity that he hath committed, he shall die for it. Again, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, if he turn from his sin and do that which is lawful and right, if the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die. None of his sins that he hath committed shall be mentioned unto him. He hath done that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live. Yet the children of thy people say, the way of Yahweh is not equal, but as for them, their way is not equal. When the righteous turneth from his righteousness and committeth iniquity, he shall even die thereby. But if the wicked turn from his wickedness and do that which is lawful and right, he shall live thereby. Yet ye say, the way of Yahweh is not equal. O ye house of Israel, I will judge you every one after his way. Ezekiel chapter 33, 1 through 20. You can't claim to be black only when it's convenient for you. You have to be black at all times, or sell completely out to the European Western establishment. You are going to have to understand what it means to be black in America and how you came to be here, because we have gotten way too comfortable in a land that we should not be in. We are killing it. We are killing one another for streets and land that's not even ours, and yet no one is using their thoughts and energy to make strides to get back to the land we came from, that we know is rightfully ours, of the continent that they call Africa. There are even some of our people that claim their connection and lineage to countries of Northern Africa and Arabic nations. However, I have yet to see any of these nations stand up and deliver these brothers from the ongoing atrocities that us Africans here in this land continue to face, just as it was spoken expressly by the mouth of Yah in the scriptures. That's Deuteronomy 28, verse 6. Which reads, "And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." Some of these so-called enlightened brothers that claim to be so endowed with knowledge of self and their history, walking around with such arrogance and an air of superiority over their fellow Africans in this land, backbite, slander, gossip, and use the word nigger more so than those that don't know themselves at all. They enjoin themselves and become a confederate against thee, creating a tumult amongst thy people, further causing disconnect. If one seeks gold but produces copper, you better be weary. Though both metals are good conductors, gold is better suited and equipped to handle the load of the camel. Speak on it. We have to have the right conductor in order for us to feel the connection to the source of our being. The purpose of this Holocaust observance is in hopes that you will be able to connect to those that were lost during the Greek and Roman occupation of Africa. To those over 100 million Africans, our ancestors, that were lost during the mid-Atlantic slave trade. Those that were set on fire and burned at the stake. Those that were tied to horses. Those that were castrated, beaten, spit upon. A connection to those lynched by racist fascists such as the KKK. Those people, our ancestors, did not die in vain. I feel them. Because of them, I am. Our history of how we came to be here has been watered down so much that some of us question, what does slavery have to do with anything? It has a lot to do with why you are in the position that you and your people are scattered across the globe. We first have to deal with our past and address it before we can effectively move forward and begin the healing process. Every year, the Irish celebrate who they are. Every year, the Mexicans celebrate the Day of the Dead. Every year, the European, Khazars, Ashkenazi Jews make sure that the world remembers what happened to their 6 million people during World War II at the hands of the Nazis. Just the same, and that's equally relevant, so shall our 100 million ancestors' death, Holocaust, should be recognized by our people. You have got to come to grips and make the decision whether you are an African American or an African born in America. Please do not construe my words as hatred. I'm not telling you to hate anyone. To hate is a feeling. And as I stated earlier, leave your feelings out of this, because feelings and emotions don't allow you to think rationally, and it clouds your better judgment. You have to deal with the facts. We cannot afford to continue to allow our feelings to dictate our actions. A lot of men are emotionally imbalanced. That's why it is important for a boy to have a father to provide that balance between both parents. A lot of our sons and our boys are out there making dumb decisions and irrational choices for lack of a father in their lives. They are being taught to be men by their mothers who are but emotional beings. No discredit to the women. That's just y'all nature. So what's happening out here, is we have a community full of young black men with a lot of testosterone infused with high levels of estrogen. What I'm saying is that a lot of our young black men out here claiming to be men handle certain situations emotionally just like a woman would when they are faced with certain issues of life. You can even see it in a lot of guys on this compound. They are all victims of racist European institutions, abandonment by their fathers who are locked up, one-night stands, and plain old deadbeat dads. Women are submissive to strength by nature. A lot of our black women are turning to the comfort of another woman because a lot of women are displaying more strength than a lot of the black men out here. Yet we have the audacity to ask what's wrong with our people as though we don't have anything to do with our problems that they are facing. We are what's wrong with them. We have to take responsibility for our actions as African men. We have to take control of these matters and be the change that we wish to see. We have to take the initiative ourselves to put the work in ourselves so that our children have a sense of pride, respect, honor, loyalty, and integrity for who they are and who they represent. We are responsible for telling our story. We are responsible for our education and our future. We are responsible for telling our children our story of our ancestors so that we stay connected. We have got to know where it is we have been in order to know where we are going. Because when you know who you are, you know what's expected of you. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying just do a lot of talking about it. You got to put your work in and be about it. Our history tells us that we as a people were once free and that we ruled our own kingdom. If we were once free, well, let's get free. But to get free and to know how you once ruled, you have got to know how it is you became slaves. And it also tells us how you can be free. I'm sorry. If we were once free, well, let's get free. But to get free and to know how you once ruled, you have got to know how it is you became a slave and lost your kingdom. Deuteronomy chapter 28 tells us how we became slaves, and it also tells us how we can be free. Plain and simple, we have to turn back to Yah because it was through disobedience that he allowed us to become slaves, which only serves to stand that through our obedience to his commandments that we be saved, because his commandments are our source of life. If you want to live and if you want to be free, this is what we are told by the prophets, by the mouth of Yah, that we have to do. This way cannot be circumvented in any type of way, shape, form, or fashion. Historians have written that us Africans have lost from memory how to run an African government before the European and Arab invasions and influence. Well, I'm here to tell you flat out that that's a lie. That they are just telling us. They telling us a lie. Most of these historians don't mean to tell this lie. It is just that they have not eyes to see or ears to hear, because Yah had not revealed it to them. Because the truth is to be revealed to the lost sheep. Here it is, Genesis through Malachi, written by African Edenic Hebrew prophets by the word of Yah. This is an African history book. This is your history. This is our history. From Genesis to Malachi, this is you and about you, and has been right here with us and preserved for us this whole time. Yahweh knew what was going to happen to us and that these things would be lost from our memory as to obtain our freedom from our oppressors, and how we're supposed to live, and how to rebuild our African nation without European or Arab influence, but by the bicameral government of the priesthood of the Levites and the kingship of Judah. Yahweh said that he would never leave us. He kept his promise. And he used our enemy, the Euro-Gentile, the one that keep trying to say that this is about them, or it don't matter what color you are. That's a lie. This is all about you. Somebody trying to steal your history. This is our history. This is our African history book. This ain't theirs. He kept his promise. He been right here in the midst of us the whole time. Right up under the enemy. And he used them to make sure that we get his message. We have to look back into our African past to attain our African future. And it's right here in this book. You see it. Behold your African heritage. Behold your fear. This is real. Thank you for your time. I want to share that with you. Or you allow me to share that with you. My name is Eliab Ben Israel. Hallelujah, family.